You look good. You really look good. I'm glad you're back. We have another Blink FAQ. So, this one I admittedly don't get too often because I feel like most people probably get the idea. But this is basically just whether or not I'm on Team Mark or Team Tom. And I'm just going to say right off the bat, I'm on Team Tom. But it's been a bit of a roller coaster, I'll be completely honest. I'll kind of start back around, 2005 or so when Blink decided that they were going to go on this hiatus. And I really didn't know what to think. I didn't really expect other music from them for some reason. I don't know. I just wasn't really expecting them to just jump into new projects right away. I kind of just expected a break from music altogether, which, was silly, I guess. But as we all know, this spawned Angels and Airwaves and Plus 44. And I gotta be honest, I liked them both. I really didn't pick a side at that time. And I really heard great things out of both camps. I mean, I still love that first Angels and Airwaves album, and I still really enjoy that Plus 44 album. They're two totally different things, and they both satisfy me whenever I listen to them for different reasons. I mean, if I'm looking for, the spacey, very guitar effect driven thing, obviously Angels and Airwaves has that covered. And if I just want kind of a fun sort of pop punk, but more kind of like alternative kind of thing, then Plus 44 really hits that. And I love that he collaborated with Carol, I can't remember her last name, on that album. I do wish that Carol was a full-time member for Plus 44. I thought that would have been really cool. But at least she's still on some of the songs. And yeah, I mean, it was a cool thing all around. And I don't know, I was pretty happy. I didn't need Blink to come back at that point, although, I still thought that Blink, I still thought that Plus 44 and Angels and Airwaves combined, I still didn't think that it was as good as Blink. But we did get quite a bit more music. And it was good music, It wasn't Blink self-titled good, or it wasn't Enema of the State good, or Dude Ranch good, but, it was great music, and it still is great. It stands the test of time, I think. Same cannot be said for Neighborhoods, in my opinion. I don't think that Neighborhoods really is as good as the first Plus 44 or the first Angels and Airwaves album. And that's not to say it's not good for what it is. It's definitely got its good sides. I mean, there's a lot of great songs on there. But I don't know. At that point, I was still. I hadn't really picked a side. I mean, obviously they were back together. Things felt weird though. You could definitely tell that things were not the way that they were before, and it was pretty obvious why. I mean, Tom had his own thing, and he really didn't. I feel like he didn't need to go back to Blink. I mean, I've said that before, and I mean, I think he was just doing it because, in his heart, he still wanted to be with his friends again, at the time. But I just don't think it worked out because they just did not understand that Tom has other things going on. And, he shouldn't have to completely kick those to the curb in order to make Blink work. And, as we know, Tom ended up leaving, and the details are a little fuzzy to me because so much has happened in the last couple of years. From what I remember, Tom said that he could be back in Blink any day he wanted because he still owns the band and whatever. But, some people say that he was bought out or something. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he still owns a lot of it, but I'm willing to bet that there's some sort of contract that says, you're not a part of the future of this band anymore. Maybe, I'm sure he still owns a lot of the past projects and everything. So I don't know, but anyway, it really struck a chord with me when he left, and I was not on Team Tom at all. If you watch some of my older videos, I was ripping Tom pretty hard. I really didn't care for the demos, odds and ends thing that he threw out pretty quickly. It really felt like a cash grab to me at the time, and he always said that these are songs that were meant to be Blink songs, and they were just stuff that he's been collecting over the last couple of years. And at the time, I didn't feel like that was true. I really felt like it was something he just threw together really fast, like I said, as just a way to make a quick buck and capitalize on the fact that it was announced that Matt Skiba was going to be in the band and that California was coming out. And I don't know, I really was on Team Mark at the time, Mark and Travis. And while I really didn't think that Matt was the right choice, because I've been listening to Matt and Alkaline Trio as long as I've been listening to Blink, since about like 2002 or so, I was still on their side because I really thought that Tom was just being selfish, and I thought that Tom was... I really didn't care for a lot of the other things that he was doing, with the movies and the books and whatever. I just wanted music, and I was on music's side, really. I wanted guitar-driven, fast, pop-punk music. That's what I wanted, and that's what I got from Blink for a long time. But when California came out, I was really trying hard to be on that bandwagon. I tried really hard, and I couldn't hold on anymore. I just couldn't do it. And there was maybe a year, maybe a little more, that I just stopped following anything that Tom did online. I just didn't care what he was doing. I didn't care about the music he came out with. And I really, like I said, I wanted to like California, but I just couldn't. And these two things were kind of leaving me in a hard place. I really wasn't liking what Tom was doing. I really wasn't liking what Mark was doing. And I don't know, somewhere along the line, I just kind of, at the same time of me, growing up a little bit over the past few years, and me recording my own music and trying to figure things out on my own, I started to realize why Tom did what he did. And the roles kind of got reversed a little bit, because eventually what I started to see was Tom sticking to his guns. Obviously he wanted to be with his family more. He wanted to make a schedule that worked for his company to the stars, that worked for being able to see his family members as much as possible. And, he didn't want to tour the world anymore. I mean, he had done that for a long time. And, I'm sure he'll still do that again, maybe every now and then, but it's... He wants more. I mean, he obviously has the alien, space thing going on. He's got, movies. He keeps coming out with books, or at least co-authoring whatever he's doing. I still don't really pay much attention to the book stuff. And, but he's come out with some pretty solid music in the past couple of years. And the same cannot be said for Blink. I mean, since then, the only thing that Blink's really done is California and then California Deluxe. And as far as we know, Mark is probably recording some new Blink stuff right now. Travis is recovering from some injuries, and Matt is doing the Alkaline Trio thing. So it seems like, you know, Blink's at least moving forward, but yeah, California and California Deluxe were just crap and crap deluxe to me. You know, it's totally watered down. It's Mark trying to be 20 years old again, and he has a producer or an engineer or whatever Feldman is that just really doesn't get it, in my opinion. You know, Jerry Finn was obviously a big part of Blink-182, and, you know, God rest his soul, but, you know, I really wish he was back, even just for the sake of Blink, you know. But, I mean, to get back to what I was saying, Tom has really released some good stuff in the last couple years. I mean, Chasing Shadows, I listened to it like once, maybe, when it came out, and I was like, all right, yeah, cool, whatever. Because I was still a bit bitter with him just leaving. But the more and more I listened to it, I was like, you know, this stuff's great. You know, he still has it. You know, when he wants to make that sort of music, he can do it, and he does it really well. And it's some of my favorite music that he's ever released. You know, each 4 of those songs, I think, are some of the best that he's ever done, especially the title track, Chasing Shadows. I think it's fantastic. And the guitar sounds are really good on the album. I'm actually working on some new tones right now, you know, to try and emulate that as much as possible with my AxeFX there for, you know, some future covers or future recordings or whatever. And, you know, I've even been revisiting the demos, odds and ends stuff that he came out with that I initially just dumped on, and realized that there's a lot of potential there, and it really doesn't feel like how I originally thought it did. You know, it doesn't feel like something he just threw together really quick. It sounds like stuff that he had been working on for a little while. You know, obviously you can't write, you know, decent enough lyrics that fast, as fast as I kind of thought he did. And I don't know. I mean, I think that if those songs were Blink songs, if he never left, and if, you know, the 3, I say original guys, but, you know, including Travis, if they'd stuck together, I think if they made those songs Blink songs, I think that would have been great. You know, I think it would have blown neighborhoods out of the water. So, I don't know. It really goes to show, in my opinion, just how important Tom is to Blink-182. I think that Blink should be dead without Tom. I really do. And I don't think I would say the same thing if Mark left and Tom stayed. I think that Blink could go on without Mark. I don't think it should go on without Tom. I just really don't. He's the better songwriter, and I don't know. I just think he has a much more unique voice. He has a more unique songwriting style that's much harder for people to emulate. I think Mark is replaceable. You know, obviously he's got a very specific sound that, you know, some people love, but it's really not hard to replace that, I don't think. You know, his bass tones aren't really anything special. His style really isn't much. I mean, he doesn't really do all that much. I mean, I'm not saying I don't like Mark. I really do, but I mean, just the way that he's been the last few years, the way that he acts on social media is just pretty childish, I think. And, you know, I just really think he wishes he was 20 years old, and I think he still thinks he is sometimes, you know. So, I don't know. I gotta give it up to Tom for, you know, doing what he really wants to do, and for being brave enough to say bye to Blink, even though Blink is obviously such a humongous brand name these days that he would make so much more money in Blink easily. I can't obviously say what he makes doing, you know, his his UFO stuff and whatever with his other company. But as far as music goes, I mean, Blink will always make more money than Angels and Airwaves. I'm sure of it, because at this point they're just a monster household name. You know, almost everybody knows who Blink 182 is. So I don't know. I'm on Team Tom. That's just kind of how it goes, and I don't know. Maybe that'll change someday, but I don't know. The older I get, I kind of start to understand it a bit more. You know, I'm not 15 anymore, and they're not 20 anymore. So there you go. Anyway, this is Wonderwall.